But technology and academic excellence is not the only goal of the Institute. Students are guided to apply their knowledge for the welfare of society. Because to note a new life-changing history, technology must advance humanity. ITS, Institute Technology, 10 November.
Maybe I will not explain this paper because this paper is not in the.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second meeting for Pre-Onsite meeting for the Study Excursion 2022. Okay. This is actually our second meeting, and last weekend we already had the first meeting. Who is still remember about the first meeting here? Maybe I will pick one of you. I guess I will pick Panji Radia Daniswara. What do you think? What do you know about our first meeting?
I think it is very insightful for me because I know about the work ethic in Singapore and about the transportations and any other thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And what do you think? What do you get from the first meeting, Zaki Nur Ali?
Yes, maybe it is about the responsibility we have to do for the company.
Okay, and okay, I already asked about what we were talking about back in the first meeting, but do you know who that delivered the first meeting? Yasar. Hello, Yasar. Okay, maybe Yasar is some kind of away from his laptop. Okay, but okay, maybe there's okay. Lala, could you please open? I guess Lala is here. Ashila Nera, one of our committee. Lala, could you please open your WhatsApp? Okay, Lala, you may, yeah, I already sent the instruction on your WhatsApp. Okay, thank you. So in our second meeting today, we will have Alex Lu from, yes, he is a citizen of Singapore that working in Asia German Institute. And yes, she will be here for a couple minutes, and the same as the last meeting, everyone here has to work on their worksheet, and don't forget to submit it on time because there will be no tolerance for the second meeting. you have to submit your worksheet on time, or it will be affect your assessment for the international exposure. And okay, for in 6 minutes we will having Alex do as our second speaker, and after the meeting, oh, welcome Alex. This meeting actually will be lead by
Hi, Gideon.
yes, good
Hi.
afternoon.
Afternoon.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
I would like to invite Mbak Fai as our moderator for today. Mbak Fai, how are you?
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, maybe we will start directly after this, Mbak Fai, or
Yes, we can start now.
okay, we will proceed to our session for the second meeting for Pre-Onsite Study Excursion 2022. I will give the virtual microphone to Mbak Fai. Thank you very much, Mbak Fai.
Okay, so hello everyone, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, everyone, if you can hear my voice clearly, would you mind to give your thumb ups? Can you give a reactions button that you can hear my voice clearly and I'm audible? Okay, so thank you everyone. I believe that you are really looking forward for this session. So this is the second sessions to know about Singapore. And this afternoon, we have already our native Singaporeans. So I would like to greet my friends here. Alex, how are you, Alex? Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah, I can hear, but it's a bit choppy. I don't know why. I think it's Zoom. But I can hear most of it. But some parts are cut off.
Okay, perfect. So, Alex, before we start, do you mind to have an introductions about yourself so that our students here know you better?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Hi.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so I'll begin. My name is Alex. I'm a Singaporean. So I've been living here for the past 27 years. So I grew up here. I'm born here. And what I'm going to share is just my perspective of Singapore food and culture, as well as a way of life. So during this point of presentation, I would actually like to know more about you so that I can see what I can deliver, because there is a lot to talk about. Even with 2 hours, even with 2 days, it's not enough to talk about everything about Singapore. So I would like to know what you know so that I don't have to go through things that you know, or rather I can tell you things that you don't know. So if you have any suggestions, please feel free to talk about it before I start my presentation, so that I can make it a better experience for you.
Okay, so everyone, before we go to Alex's presentations, please type on the chat box what kind of things in regards to the foods and culture that you want to know about Singapore. So before we go to Alex sessions, I would like you to type on the chat box anything that you want to know about Singapore. Can I have here Nuris? Nuris, are you with us? Nuris, can you unmute yourself? Hello, Nuris. Okay, I guess Nuris is not here yet. But before seeing the students or participants' voice, I guess Alex, how long have you been in Singapore already? 28, 27 years?
Yeah, more or less. But usually I travel around because it's a small place. Yeah.
Okay, so our sessions today with Alex will be talking about food and culture. So everyone, if you are curious about anything in regards to the foods and culture about Singapore's later, drop a questions or raise your hands directly. And maybe I will give the time directly to Alex presenting at the moment about Singapore foods and culture. And committee, would you mind to help Alex to share the screen so that Alex will present directly? Now, can you help to present the presentations? Okay, Alex, can you see the presentations?
Yeah.
Okay, you may start the presentations, Alex. Yes, your voice is clear, but maybe you can turn off your video a moment so that we can hear your voice clearly. Then you may talk about the Singapore.
Okay. Yeah, so hi, so I'm going to talk about Singapore, right? So how many of you been to Singapore? Raise your hands. Nobody been. Okay, so Singapore is basically an island. Okay, I see some hands. Ramadhani, Nabila, okay. Okay, great. So 2% out of 93. Okay, that's like 1%. Okay, so I think Singapore is a very is a unique place because it is very small. It doesn't have natural resources, but yet again, it is very successful economically, and it has quite a small, huge political influence for a small country. Other than that, there's also great culture scene in terms of the different race, the diversity of race. I think Indonesia itself is a huge archipelago, huge amount of islands. Everywhere is different. If you go to Medan, it's different from when you go to the Pre-Onsite. So this is all within the boundaries of Indonesia. So likewise, Singapore is a mismatch of Malay culture, Chinese culture, and Indian culture. So that's more or less what Singapore is. My slide won't encompass an hour long, so I will try to edit my own stuff when I feel that is appropriate. Yeah. So if you feel that you have any things that you really feel that you want to talk about, feel free to stop me and voice it out. Or you can just, if you're shy, you can type in the chat box. Yeah. So that's more or less about Singapore. Singapore gained independence in 1965, where we were a British colony, so we were colonized for a long time. So we were colonized by the British, the United Kingdom, and later on by Japan during the Japanese occupation for 3 years. And subsequently, we joined Malaysia because at that time we felt that because we had no national resources, it's best to join another great intellect. But we could have also joined Indonesia, or Malaysia could have joined Indonesia. But but that's how history is. So we see it as how history bring us where we are today. So then again, fast forward to right now, we have just come out of the COVID pandemic, and we are moving it to an endemic stage, meaning that the pandemic has passed, and people are trying to live their life as normal, and getting back to normal, going back to work. Like just today, I went to around the CBD. There's a lot of people going to work. Okay, next slide. This is supposed to be a video. Okay, yeah. So play the video. It's around 3 minutes, so it's just a good start for you to relax and watch the video instead of hearing me talk. Okay, please play the video.
Nawa, can you please share again the screen? Hello, Nawa.
There's no.
Okay, Pause, wait. So this video is about showing you the touristic part of Singapore. So it's actually a government initiative trying to sell Singapore. So what you see inside is what they are trying to entice, especially the Western audience, to show Singapore as a great place to invest. There's a lot of things going on, but in reality, it's not like that. As a normal person, as a citizen, you don't see what is in the video, but the video only shows the good part. So when you watch the video, please take a pinch of salt. Yeah, so please play the video.
There is no
Place like this.
There's no.
place like this.
This is the place.
This is the place I call home.
Our home.
This is where 1212 and 112 are not just dancing steps. Where our back streets live on as galleries and museums. This is where we live amongst trees, carve them out of metal, and make them electric. Where impossibilities lead us to endless possibilities. This is where old school, new school, and what no school can teach come together. Here, every day is a new canvas. The old school cool. This is where rhymes, chimes, and the daily grind meet.
There's no place.
This is where who you were will not be who you will become. This is where all that you're passionate about, all that drives you, is made possible. This is where passion is made possible.
This is your stage.
Okay, thanks for watching. So how do you all find the video? Okay, yeah. So basically this video is trying to show that, you know, if you have a passion, you can make it in Singapore. But I think with a passion, you can make it anywhere. But it's still nonetheless a good tagline. And then again, like in such a small place, like with all these things going on, is there really a share of a pie for everybody? This is something to think about. So that was a very strange introduction about Singapore, because usually when we talk about Singapore, people will think like, okay, it's a green city and all that. But in the video, it shows a lot of very avant-garde things like old school meets new school, no school, this kind of mindset. So this is very, very abstract. There's a lot of things that is really up to your imagination. So that is what they're trying to that is what they're trying to portray Singapore as. But then again, if you ask any foreigners, people who come as tourists, they have a different view and mindset about Singapore as to someone who lives and works here. So yeah, that's how the, as you can see, how the government wants to portray Singapore as. So next slide, please. Next slide. No. Next slide. Yeah, okay, as I mentioned, right, majority of Singaporeans are Chinese. So even within the Chinese diaspora, there are different kind of different dialect groups. Like just in Indonesia, you have different kind of dialect, right? You have Sundanese, you have Batak, you have Javanese, and you know the political center is Javanese. So what is Indonesian? Indonesian is also something. It's not just Javanese, not just Jakarta, right? Not just Bali, right? So that's the same thing for Singapore. So there's a lot of diversity and there's a lot of ways to look at Singapore. So one of the way that has been going on for the past 20 years is a garden city, because 50% of the island is green, and there's a lot of definitely world-class infrastructure, and the transportation is very integrated. In fact, I don't think you need a car to get around in Singapore. If you drive from east to west, you circumference the whole island. You can cover Singapore in an hour. And as I mentioned, there's also 4 major communities in Singapore, and all of them have different culture, different religion, language, and history. Yeah. So next slide. Yeah. So the culture of anywhere, not just Singapore, will change over the millennia. Like just last time, we had a lot of Jews, we had a lot of Armenians, but they have left. And then nowadays, there's a lot of bigger immigration of people, a lot of Westerners and Europeans will come, and it has a place where it is not East meet West, and a gateway to Asia, and a garden city. And there's a lot of Peranakan. So the idea of Peranakan in Indonesia is different from how the idea of Peranakan is in Singapore. The idea of Peranakan in Singapore is a previous generation of Chinese or Indian, right? And then they marry in the indigenous people, and then they create this culture that is a mix of both, which is in terms of language, they practice the Bahasa Melayu or Indonesian, but then they also have their own, in terms of language, they don't use Malay, they use Hokkien, for the case of Hokkien Peranakans, or they use Teochew, which is a dialect group of the Chinese diaspora that has immigrated. And of course, there is also the Indians, such as the Tamils who intermarried. They are called the Chitu or the Chettians, mostly the Peranakan. And they thrive in certain trade and business, because in the past, businesses were thrive based on dialect group. So if you're a dialect group, let's say you're Hokkien, you give business to a Hokkien rather than you give business to a Cantonese, because this is how things work. It was later on the government in Singapore stepped in and said that, oh no, this is not how business should work. Business should be open to different people if they're capable. So the idea of meritocracy came into the picture in Singapore rather than like feudalism. But feudalism is still practiced in a lot of countries. Singapore has a little bit of feudalism. In fact, a lot of Western news rank it as number 6. Yeah. So then again, what is meritocracy? At the end of the day, meritocracy is trying to level the playing field for people in the country. But then again, it's not perfect, because meritocracy also manifests in unmeritocratic ways. What do I mean? Because if you are rich, you can send your son to better opportunities, give them more money for better standing. So, and because you have money, your son or your daughter has more chance. Is that meritocratic? Yes, that is meritocratic, because you have money, you can get closer. But then again, the richer people will get richer, and the poorer people will get poorer. Yeah, so that is something that Singapore thrives on, which is meritocracy. Next.
Alex, you're on mute, Alex.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized. So in Singapore, how do we control and get all these people who are so different from one another to interact and live in harmoniously? So we move beyond tolerance. What's the difference between accepting and tolerance? Tolerance is like, okay, these people are different from me, but we have to live together. So I will not offend them and do anything. But what is acceptance? Acceptance is different. Acceptance is these people are different from me, and I want to celebrate their culture and learn from one another. So Singapore is a secular country. The majority, I think around 35% are Buddhists, and most of the Chinese population practice Buddhism. There's a growing number of Protestant Christianity, because the Malay majority are Muslims. And Hindus are practiced by the Tamils, Indians, but of course there are groups of Tamils who are a lot of Christians and Muslim as well. So that's more or less our demographic. And our festivals and all that is based on all these religions that they had. So, and our food, it makes it very unique, and it is what makes Singapore Singapore. There's a racial harmony day that we practice every July on 21st. And sometimes people, instead of coming in their school uniform, they come in different attires. and they prepare their performance regarding racial harmony. Yeah, next. Yeah, so this is a video about the different areas of Singapore. So you need to click on the link and paste on YouTube. Go back. Copy the link and paste on YouTube, please.
Okay, while we are waiting for the YouTube link, we would like to invite everyone here who want to ask questions to Alex. Please put your questions on the chat box, or you may also raise your hand. And I would like again remind you that the worksheet already distributed on the chat box. Please later, guys, don't forget to fill in your worksheets that we need to submit for the meeting too. Okay, the video is ready. Please play.
Impressions of Orchard.
Yeah, really cool. We know. It's like pork. Really tasty. It's like a tree's fallen down or something. I don't know if it like flooded and it's fallen down.
Because we're saying this is our first adventure. We were so lucky when we came here the first time.
And we heard about this place and it's definitely worth coming to. I definitely say you should go here.
So today our whole plan is basically to go out and explore a few of the areas where we might want to live. And we've heard a lot of good things about an area called Orchard, which I don't think we visited at all when we were here on our travels like 18 months ago. So we're gonna head there first, have a little walk around, see what the area is like. We also want to look at Tanjong Pagar, which is kind of down near like the CBD. So I don't know if it will be a bit too kind of corporate and near all the offices and stuff around there. But those are our first two areas to go and have a look at, and then there's lots of others that we need to go and figure out before we can even start looking at apartments and things. But that's the plan for today, and probably grabbing some nice food along the way. First impressions of Orchard are that it has a lot of shopping malls, so I think it must be like where everyone comes to do their shopping.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to live here at the moment.
It's just like a mall, like loads of big malls.
A good place, yeah, a good place to come shop, get some food. But I think we're looking for more of a like hipster or like naturey vibe.
Yeah, or just more residential with like smaller cafes and stuff like that. I don't know if we'll find that, but we'll keep having a look. Is that a bit more vibey feel like in then?
A bit more vibey, yeah. This is all like it.
But it definitely looks like a nice kind of area. It's giving us an idea of the kind of nice areas to live in.
And also we found some more like cute little cafes and like little restaurants and stuff, so...
And old buildings.
Yeah, once you get off the main street it does seem like there's more cute little places, which is what we like. We found a kitty. I thought cats had to be kept inside here, but I've actually seen quite a few cats walking around, so maybe they're strays or maybe they're allowed to be out and about.
Definitely picked a good day for this. It's very breezy today, so even though it's like 34 degrees out, it's keeping us nice and cool. When we first came to Singapore, we thought these roofs were to stop the sun, Now we've been here a month, we realise it's definitely full of
Okay, so let's check. Bintang.
Cute little places, which is what we like.
What happened now? We got hanging.
We found a kitty. I thought cats had to be kept inside here, but I've actually seen quite a few cats walking around, so maybe they're straight or maybe they're allowed to be out and about.
Definitely picked a good day for this. It's very breezy today. So even though it's like 34 degrees out, it's keeping us nice and cool. When we first came to Singapore, we thought these roofs were to stop the sun. Now we've been here a month, we realise it's definitely full of rain.
We were so lucky when we came here the first time. It rained like one time,
Yeah.
but this rained like every day, and like that's normal as far as I can tell.
I think so.
We are now in Fort Canning area, which is my favourite so far actually. It's got like loads of restaurants, it's quite like established, loads of like greenery still.
I think it's like actually like Robertson Quay, Robertson Walk, that kind of area. So we'll have a look around here. Probably out of our price range, but we can see the area.
Yeah. All the places I'm going to like are going to be the most expensive places to live, I'm sure of it, but we wanted to, we just want to get to know the city before we go apartment hunting again. The problem at the moment is that because we've gone back into phase 2, all of the restaurants are closed, which means that there's nowhere to like sit down and have a drink when our legs get tired.
Cool off.
Yeah, so we're just gonna power through.
Maybe find a mall to cool off and walk around that.
It's a bit dead around here, isn't it?
Pretty quiet, yeah. Normally I think it's really busy. This is like Chinatown area just outside Tanjong Pagar.
It's kind of sad, isn't it? But because they're saying this is our first like adventure.
Yeah, your first proper day out in Singapore and there's like no one here at all. But it's quite nice though, it's quite pretty to look with no one here.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I love these shop houses.
They're so cool.
Yeah, it's so funny to see these shop houses and then in the background you've got these brand new skyscraper buildings. We were really liking all of the HDB buildings. They're really like colourful and nice. But we probably want a swimming pool, so. We're now in
Tanjong
Pagar, and it's definitely vibey. Like there's like lots of little cafes, hairdressers and stuff. Again, it's quiet, but I think that's just because of the phase 2. But yeah, I haven't seen any big apartment blocks, so I don't know where everyone lives. But it's definitely a cool area. Like it's got all these shop fronts with all the like archways and stuff, which is really nice.
I think it's somewhere you come for like dinner or drinks or something rather than somewhere you come and live.
We are making wild assumptions, by the way, because we don't actually know Singapore that well. So
We have no idea.
yeah,
really.
please correct us down in the comments. Let us know where it's good to live and stuff, because that would help us out a lot. I really love this building.
So cool.
It's a really cool building.
I think it's just an HDB, it's not like condos you can rent.
Yeah, it looks fancy. I like it. This area seems to just be a big construction site, doesn't it?
There's a lot of cranes and a lot of noise. Maybe in a few years this is the place to live. But at the moment it seems a bit construction sitey. So we just got back. We picked up some food at Tanjong Pagar Food Centre. I don't know how to say the names of any of these places, so that might be completely wrong.
Feel free to correct us in the comments. I went for a fishball noodle soup.
And I think I went for some spicy Korean beef.
And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that we can't like sit and eat it there. We did see some people eating in the park. I don't know if that's an exception or something, but to be honest, it was quite hot. We've been out all day. It's like already 3 p.m. It's a really late lunch. So yeah, we just got to grab and take it home so we can enjoy it in the AC and like cool off a bit.
So what's the verdict on where we're going to live then? Have you decided?
I don't think I've decided yet. I say Orchard, I think, it felt a bit like a giant shopping street, but then once you like veered off onto the side streets, it was actually quite nice.
You just went like one street over and then it was like nice condos.
Yeah, or like
green.
Cute cafes and stuff.
Yeah, which was nice. That was nice. And then Robertson Quay and Robertson Walk was really nice, but then
really
it's
nice.
a bit further away from like a metro or MRT.
But we had a good bus service, and I feel like the bus service is quite good here. I don't know.
And also you can walk from there. Like we walked the whole way from Orchard into Tanjong Pagar, all around the city, and then got a grab home because obviously we weren't gonna walk all that way back again.
Oh yeah, we've got our steps in today for sure. I think the Tanjong Pagar area was a bit, I don't know if we just like missed the main street or something, but it felt a bit empty and like.
I think there's probably some nice condos there. So you could go and move to a nice place there, and then you'd have to walk to like Chinatown.
Or like get the grabs.
Or get a grab or MRT
yeah.
or something. I think there's some quite nice bars and lots of Japanese places actually.
Which I'm a fan of.
But they're all closed, and it's kind of hard to feel the vibe of somewhere when there's no one there.
Yeah, maybe it's just because it's phase 2 at the moment, but I really want to live somewhere where I can like easily walk to nice restaurants or like a food centre or something. So, let's see.
We'll keep looking. We don't need to decide.
We have we'll probably just stay here for like a longer, maybe even after phase 2, so that we can get a better feel for places. But definitely recommend some other areas that we should visit. The grab driver actually recommended that we go to the east and have a look around there. So I think we'll probably do that another day. For now, we're gonna have lunch because we're starving.
Okay. So thank you for the video. Can we go back to the presentations, Alex?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to talk about food. There's a lot of food going on here. Because as I mentioned, it is a crisscross of cultures. Europeans came, the Chinese came, the Indian came, the Malays came, and there's also a growing interest in Southeast Asian cuisine. So there's also Southeast Asian food. So
Alex, sorry, your voice is not clear enough. Can you repeat? Hello, Alex. Alex. Oke, teman-teman, ini Alex sepertinya ada connection trouble. Hello, Alex. Can you hear my voice? Okay.
Hi, sorry, got cut off for a while. Yeah, I think I can see now. So I will move on to the first thing. Next slide. Yeah, so I like laksa. I think you all have similar things that are spicy, and then it's all noodles. So it's mee, right? And then there's a variation, and there's two types of laksa. There's Assam laksa, and also there's the curry-based one. So Singapore mostly is the curry-based one. In Penang, Malaysia, if you go, there's the Assam-based one. So it's Assam-based, so by Singapore, it's curry-based. So this is with they have the tofu, right? They call it tauki here, okay? And then there's prawn, there's fish, and then there's noodles, and then there's the broth. That's what makes laksa very interesting. And all these ingredients are found in a tropical country like Singapore. So that's one of the cuisines that we have. Next. There's also chicken rice. Chicken rice, there's a lot, I think, found in Singapore, even compared to Malaysia. So this was brought by the Hainanese immigrants who came. So you can see there's an assortment of sauces, right? There's also the ginger sauce, which is also used, the chicken fat and the ginger and the garlic is used to cook the rice. So you put the chicken and the rice in the rice cooker or anywhere you put it, and then you get the fragrant rice. So something as bland as the rice, you can get a lot of flavor. And also there's a chili, right? So the chili is not diluted. A good chicken rice should have a chili that is very thick. So when you eat it, you can feel the garlic. So that is the kind of chili. So it's not sambal actually. And then there's also the soy paste to make it salty. So in those days, people like it salty because they eat more. Because food was scarce and people are poor. Yeah, so that's chicken rice for you. Next. And there's also the chili crab. Chili crab is a lot of times used to represent Singapore in terms of food because the crab is a delicacy. So seafood is considered expensive and extravagant. So if you bring your friends to Singapore, you always bring them with chili crab. Yeah, but be prepared to pay a lot. Usually you top that with bread. The sauce is very nice with bread. Yeah. So that's the three main cuisine that I think can really represent Singapore. But then definitely there's a lot more. So you can read up or research on your own. Next. Yeah, so there's another video about Singapore in 3 minutes. Enjoy.
Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Okay, great. That's the video is good because it does justice to the landscape and the beauty and culture that we can see in Singapore. That we are unable to in 3 minutes. I think it's done a great job. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alex. That's all the presentations, Alex?
There's 3 more slides. But what are you thinking of?
Okay. We still have several minutes. You may continue the presentations, Alex, if you still have several slides.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Deepavali, right? So I'll move on to the festival. So Deepavali is the city of lights, and it's celebrated by the Indian communities, not just in Singapore. But in Fiji, even in Fiji, in some African country where there's an Indian diaspora, so it's a public holiday in Singapore. That's why I like it. Yeah. Next. Next slide. This is Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year is celebrated everywhere. I think if you live in the cities in Indonesia, you have a lot of connection with the Chinese community because they always celebrate Chinese New Year. And all these lions, it's called the nian, right? So the nian is an animal that comes out once a year. So the Chinese in those days, they believe in this myth that they will hit the drum so that the nian will not come and eat them. So that's how the drum, the fireworks, and all this, the creature, the nian comes. So in Chinese culture, the nian, right, means 1 year. So because the monster comes once a year, so it's called the nian. So it's one cycle is 1 year. It also represents the monster. Okay, next. Yeah, the last one is Idul Fitri, right, or the Idul Adha. So from this is an Islamic holiday that's practiced everywhere, and in Singapore, the Malay culture and religion is very similar to the one in Indonesia, but a little bit different, because it has its own local Islamic jurisprudence that is not practiced in Singapore. Yeah. So that's more or less the end. Is there a next slide? Can you click? Yeah, I think that's the last one. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Maybe you can now turn on your video since the sessions that we will have after this is the Q&A session. So we will have discussions, Alex. For all the participants, the students, I encourage you to ask questions. You may raise your hands, or you may give your questions on the chat box, because here we have a native Singaporean, so this is your time to ask about anything in regards to foods and culture. So before I go to participants' questions, I have one questions for you in regards to the price. So how much is the range of meals that you inform on your previous presentations? So if we want to have one meals maybe for lunch or breakfast, how much it range in Singapore?
In Singapore, there's a hawker center, right? So the restaurant is top tier. Restaurant is expensive. Hawker center is in between, and then you have street food. But Singapore doesn't have the street food because of hygiene. So the government clean up and change the hawker center. But hawker center, they try to make it affordable, even though with inflation. But then again, you need to know that Singapore is a first world country. In a first world country, to get this kind of price, $3 to $5 for laksa, for chicken rice, all that, is actually very cheap. Because in a lot of other first world country, this kind of thing doesn't exist. You have to go to a restaurant, you have to make a booking, you have to queue. So in Singapore, that's the beauty of the hawker center culture. The hawker center is a UNESCO intangible heritage of Singapore. Malaysia has it, but but they always award to Singapore because of political reason.
Okay, Alex, do you have for example, Alex, for your information, the students that are attending the sessions today, they will go to Singapore in the following months. So do you have any particular suggestion for them to find a very specific foods that you recommended in Singapore, and where to find it? The specific place that for particular or traditional foods in Singapore?
Yeah. So usually I eat more Chinese Singaporean food. In fact, majority of the food is Chinese Singaporean. So I like chicken rice. I like we have this thing called cai fan, right? Cai fan basically is like your nasi padang lah, but not so spicy. But you can choose whatever you want, and then at the end of it, you will get a price. Let's say if you choose veggie, it will be cheaper. If you choose fish, it will be more expensive. We have a joke lah. It says if you choose fish, it's super expensive. It means you're a rich person. Yeah.
Okay, so for example, there's a questions here in the chat box about the food as well. So is there any recommendations if we want to save money in Singapore? Any recommendations for the food that's like very budget and not really high price, but it's I mean like it's okay.
I think you can try cooking yourself because I think grocery is not that expensive. But then again, you can go to hawker centers because it's mostly reasonably priced. But then again, I think this year there's some inflation going on. But then again, it's still affordable. It's not that expensive. Yeah, but inflation is a global phenomenon.
Okay, three until 4 Singapore dollar, right? For one meal, right?
Yeah. I mean that's the cheapest lah. Because you still can find $2.60, but it's quite rare.
Yeah, I found previously there is 2.5 Singapore dollar. It is kind of nasi lemak, but very with simple, simple food like eggs or like very small chicken. And I will go for the next questions here from Irfan. Are there any normal habits? I mean, like habits that not allowed in Singapore, Alex? Very particular habits that may be the rules for Singaporeans that prohibited. I mean, I know like for on the bus you're not allowed like eating durians, for example. Any particular prohibited actions that happen in Singapore?
Right now, at the top of my head, I can think of a few. But since you mentioned durian, I think durian is prohibited in hotels everywhere because the Westerners, they don't like the smell. They don't know how to appreciate. It's like you go to Europe and you see the cheese, it has worms on it. Then they say, well, this is aged cheese, this is delicious. So this kind of thing is called. So Asian, you see, it's disgusting. Why would they eat maggots on cheese? But I say, no, but this is aged cheese. It's a delicacy. Or if some Arab countries, they eat the eyeball of the sheep. Will you eat the eyeball of the sheep? Cultural.
Okay. Anything else specific, okay, Alex?
I think habits. Yeah, you can't traffic drugs. You can't buy drugs. Because they will hang you. There's penalty. Because they think if you bring drugs, they kill you. Is a one life is too easy. If they kill you many times, they will kill you few more times. Different families every single day of their life with addiction and all that. So you can't bring drugs and all that. If there is no death penalty, the local consumption rate of drugs will be higher, and then there will be more people who traffic. So the death penalty is a hindrance for people to traffic drugs.
Okay. I also learned previously from my visits, Alex, about smoking. Can you inform us? I mean, like specific rule for smoking in Singapore? I know like several places it's not allowed for smoking, and then you got penalties as well.
Yeah, so usually allow outside shopping malls and car parks and places there are like a yellow box where you can smoke. That's where legally you can smoke. If you go out of it and you smoke, and you will get fined. Yeah.
How much, Alex, for the fines? Smoking in like
I don't know
particular...
because I don't smoke.
Okay.
I don't smoke. You can Google it lah.
Yeah. Okay. So we also have several questions here. I would like to invite Ulia Gadis from Indices. Would you mind to unmute yourself and then ask directly to Alex? Ulia?
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Faiko. Alex, I would like to ask a question. What do you think? I mean, your opinion, yeah? The actual root cause, the variation in culture and cuisine. Since I've been to Singapore several times and I realized that they have plethora cuisines there. Thank you.
Do you got the question?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question. What?
So,
I didn't understand.
what do you think the actual root cause of variations of culture? I mean, like how the variations of cultures and foods come from?
They come from the place of origin, and over time it adapt. They mix, sometimes they don't mix. So it depends on what happens, the circumstances at the time. So I don't really understand your question. Like, are you referring to a specific food or culture?
I mean, in overall view, in overall overview.
Olia, do you have any specific things? I mean, can you mention, for example, foods or a culture that you refer to?
I mean, like in Singapore, in some food courts, you could just come and we'll see so many options, not like just Singaporean Chinese food, but also Indian, but also some fusion food like peranakan and like that. And I wonder why there are so many variations of food.
Yeah, okay. I more or less get what you mean. So in food court usually is catered to Westerners, right? Because Westerners they're not so used to eating hawker food. Even if Westerners go to hawker center, they don't go to like chicken rice and all that. I mean, they will try once or twice. After that, if they like it, they'll continue. But most of the time, they are more used to like Korean food, Thai food, Vietnamese food, you know. And even the Western food here is very different because it's all suited for local taste. So for them, they have to go to their specific food, right? So I mean, even in places in Indonesia, you have expats. Let's say you go to Jakarta or Surabaya. Your school is based in Surabaya, right? So in Surabaya, you have, let's say, the Dutch when they come, they'll bring their potatoes instead of rice. They eat the kantang more than the nasi, right? So they will eat more potatoes. Like if you go to Amsterdam, you go to places in because the colony of food, you also find a lot of Surinamese food. They are very similar. In fact, in Suriname, there are also a lot of Indonesians who have migrated there and lived there for many generations, ever since colonial time. So they will bring Indonesian food into Suriname. And then Indonesian food becomes Surinamese food because of the people living there. They are Indonesian descent, but they are Surinamese. For example, you go to South Africa, you see the Dutch who brought the Indonesians there. They have certain like biryani, roti, and all this brought by the Indians. These are Indian food, but later on they also become South African food. So this food will adapt according to the people who live there and their needs, right? So now what we see in Singapore is an adaptation and a very evolving of Singapore food, right? So like Chinese food is also very different. Even you ask me, Chinese food in Singapore is very different. When I studied in the UK, so I went to the UK, the food is modern Chinese food. They eat more noodles, they eat more dumplings, which are almost not existent in Singapore Chinese cuisine. So it's very different. So the food will evolve according to whoever lives in the place.
Okay. Olia, is that answering your questions? Do you have any follow-up things?
No, it's very clear to me. Thank you, Alex.
Okay, thank you for asking, Olia. And we can go for the next. I see here Ghana Wadiawan's also asking. This is what I've informed you, Alex, about saving the money, like trying very cheap foods, costing maybe $2 or $3. And Troy, I would like to invite you asking directly to Alex. Are you available on audio, Troy?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Okay. Permission to ask. I want to ask. Is there any food delivery app in Singapore we can use, like Gojek and Grab Food in Indonesia?
Yeah, in Singapore we also have Grab Food and we have Foodpanda. So these two are the main dominant players. There's also, it's the same in Indonesia. You have delivery costs and overnight charges. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. But then again, there's quite a big adoption of people because people are comfortable. They want the food delivered to them and all that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Troy, for the follow-ups? Do you think our apps here, like Gojek and Grab, will be any similar thing in Singapore?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. Alex.
Okay, thank you, Troy, for asking questions. And we also here have Wita asking about various types recommendations for foods. I mean, like the street foods. Alex also mentioned there is no street food, right, Alex?
Yeah. So the version of street food that you have is Singapore's hawker food. Street food was removed since 1960s and 70s because of hygiene. And yeah, you don't seem to find it because of regulation. They want to control the hygiene level of food. So if your food is not up to hygiene, you get fined. You'll be asked to close your shop. So there is some form of regulation, to stop street food.
Alex, if you want to recommend that foods that need to be tried in Singapore, will that referring to laksa and chicken rice that you mentioned previously, or do you have any other options?
There's actually a lot in Singapore. You can really get really cheap food, and I mean if you really look around, there's a lot. Even those that are not so good places, they actually taste quite good. Because I had my fair share of traveling and eating very bad food, but because that was the only thing available, so no choice. Whenever I come back to Singapore, I always remember the food. There's only two things in Singapore that draws me, which is family and food. Yeah, that I cannot find anywhere else.
Okay. We also here have questions from Muhammad Kahari. Do you want to ask directly to Alex Kahari?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, Mafaiko, for the time. Thank you for the presentation as well, Alex. So my question is, so I heard on the news that there is a Michelin star chicken rice that's like $2.50 for one portion. What's your opinion on it? Is it like worth a try or not?
Okay, let's Alex.
My personal opinion.
Have you tried, Alex, like the Michelin?
Yeah, I tried it. It's good. But I think Michelin is just another form of post-colonialism. These Michelin organizations, they are made out of, the food tasting experts are mostly Westerners, and then they eat mostly at restaurants, and then they don't know what is hawker center. They never really been to Asia. They are not like what's the guy who passed away, Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain doesn't exorcise. He come, he sit with food. You ask him to eat see with an Arab with the eye of a sheep, he will do it. I mean, that's what I think he will do. But then again, don't play too much into the Michelin marketing and publicity stunt, because at the end of the day, when you award a Michelin star to a restaurant or hawker, it loses its value because everybody go up and then they will have a lot of investment. So this is what happened to the $2.50 cheapest Michelin star. So they open a restaurant and the quality drop because there's no quality control. So if you have a beautiful food, keep it to yourself, enjoy it, and don't tell anybody. Because the more crowd they come, it becomes very difficult to enjoy, right? If you go to London, you go to Paris, you want to see Mona Lisa, but you have like 100 people in front of you. You cannot enjoy it. There's too many people. Hope I answer your question.
Okay, Kahari, is that answering your questions?
Yeah, it answered my question. And thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you. And I believe this will be our last questions here from Brian Adam. Do you want to ask directly to Alex?
All right, well. Okay, I have a question. Do you have any tips for getting quality food that is still affordable in market or in street food?
You're on mute, Alex.
Hello, sorry. What do you mean by quality food?
Quality is it's still good and halal food, but it's still affordable for us.
Halal food. There are some halal places, but majority of Singaporeans, they are not Muslim. So you can find some halal contemporary places. It's a bit, you got to Google and research. Yeah, but in Singapore, the difference is Malaysia is like the halal food and non-halal food is separate. Not even in the same food court. But in Singapore, you have halal food store next to a guy selling bak kut teh. So that's the difference. But then again, they will have a halal sign. so you can see and then you can buy.
Okay, Brian, is that answering your questions?
All right. Yes, I understand.
Okay. Okay, so basically, Alex, halal food is available, but yeah, some of the stalls is like near the, I don't know, regular stall, right? Am I correct? You're still on mute, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
So,
correct.
yeah. Is there anything else, participants, that you want to ask to Alex, since Alex still here, but I believe that he need to go after this. So I would like to open one more questions. Last questions for Alex. Is there anyone who want to ask questions for Alex? Please unmute yourself or give the questions on the chat box if you have any. Okay. Well, we are waiting. I don't know if there will be another upcoming questions or not. Alex, would you wrap up your presentations, like the conclusions or remarks for students here who want to visit Singapore? Please give recommendations or suggestions for them.
I'll try my best to wrap up. I think Singapore is a bubble. When you come here, you realize that it's very organized, it's very clean. But then you got to think it from another perspective, like, okay, all these things that happen, this is the effect, but there's a cost to it. So what is the cost? There's always CAUSE, right? Cost. So what are these? These are hardworking people who make it happen, who make it clean, who keep things in order, and who have very strict laws and enforcement to ensure that every day goes smoothly and perfectly. So then again, there's a lot of stress on the populace to have this perfect bubble to exist. So Singapore, if you want to stay long, is really good for your career. But then again, it gets very sterile because everything is very predictable. Every day, you know, things are going well, but it's very, like, you know what is going to happen. It's like, okay, I finish work, I go home, this is what I'll do. And every day is like that. So it's very, some people like this kind of lifestyle. So at the end of the day, it's what kind of green you want. If you like this kind of lifestyle, then welcome. But if you don't like it, you like the more less organized, less controlled life, then Singapore probably isn't for you. Yep.
Okay, is that all, Alex?
That's all. Nice to meet you all. Nice to meet everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alex, for your time and your presentations about Singapore. We really appreciate your informations in regards to the foods and culture in Singapore. Hopefully some of the students here will have a very good journey to Singapore, and hopefully they will be able to try on the laksa and chicken rice that you mentioned on your presentation.
Fine.
So thank you so
Wait.
much, Alex.
Fine.
Everyone, would you mind to give a round of applause for Alex? Yes.
Hey, let's
Yes.
take a group photo. Can you send me after? Let's take a group photo. Ask them to on their camera.
Okay. Before before we end the sessions with Alex, everyone, so I would like to invite you for a group photo. So please turn on your camera for minutes for the group photo. Yes.
Finally,
Committee, would you mind to help to get? Okay. So actually, everyone, Alex is looking forward to seeing your smile and faces here. I will count to 3. So committee, please help to turn on the or take a pictures. Okay. I will count 1, 2, 3. Okay. Please hold on a minute. Okay. And then another slides. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much, Alex. Again, let's invite a round of applause for Alex sessions today.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
so
so much, Alex.
much, Alex, for your time. And
we
will
send
send several
of
souvenirs of
appreciation.
appreciations.
Ade, tolong di-mute dulu.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And for the next sessions, I will give back to Ade for the informations about the updates about your active participations during the sessions, and then about your worksheet submissions, and then about the deposit payment and everything. So please stay tuned for several minutes, everyone, because Ade will give you several informations about the next step for the excursion program. Okay, thank you so much. And
Okay, thank you very much, Mbak Fai, and also Mas Alex or Alex. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. That very insightful, and we got another perspective about Singapore from its very own citizen. Thank you very much once again. Okay, thank you very much everyone for staying with us. Please, this one will be very important. Since it is very important, I will deliver the presentation in Bahasa Indonesia. Oke. Oke, terima kasih teman-teman sudah hadir di pertemuan kedua untuk pre-onsite meeting. Nah, sekali lagi akan saya berikan briefing. Pekan lalu sudah saya berikan briefing, akan sekali lagi saya